Howdy doody, folks. It's a beautiful Saturday, October 18th, 4:32 p.m. is the time. The temperature right now is about 19 degrees Celsius, and I want to welcome a lot of you into the chat already. Marge is here, Flick, Hunter, Picard, Medano, Mark D, Whoosja, Eris, Aiden Thompson, McGuire, AJ, Jeffrey Wu, Edward Fitzpatrick. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me just do a quick audio and visual test. All right, everything seems to be working. Flick Hunter says the kid needs to be on his game tomorrow. I'm gonna adjust my microphone up a little bit. I'm more worried about if he's gonna get yanked or not and replaced with Brandon Little. Greetings, Darren. I, no word of a lie, was yelling at my TV last night when I saw Brandon Little up and warming in the pen. If you're a Blue Jay fan, you were witness to an agony Toronto sports fans know all too well. Nothing like some good old-fashioned self-sabotage. John Schneider had exactly three choices. One, leave Varland in, he was pitching well. Two, go to Hoffman, your best arm in the bullpen, put him up against your best. Or three, go to Dominguez, your setup man, and put him in the traditional setup role. But he chose neither of those three options. He also looked over Bassett, Lauer, and everyone else in the bullpen and said, hey, I'm gonna put the guy in who has given up over a 500 batting average over the past few months. Our absolute worst option. Not only am I going to put him in, but I'm going to put him in against the league's best hitter, or at least power hitter. Yeah, that's going to go well. Anyways, we lost the game. John Schneider's a fucking idiot. And I don't think calling for him to be fired is an overreaction. After that nonsense that happened with Berrios getting pulled for Kikuchi in like the third inning, when Berrios was on fire, I think the man just goes to bed dreaming of making pitching changes. Anyways, I'm sure I'll be ranting on and on, but if he either went with Varland, Hoffman, or Dominguez, no matter what happens, nobody is going to be pointing the finger at Schneider, because those are all acceptable moves. You live and die with your best options, but he chose to live on planet stupidity once again. And I think Pete Walker probably takes a lot of the blame. But anyways, it's a beautiful day. I'm sure there's a lot of non-baseball fans going, what the hell is this guy talking about? I just passed through Trinity Bellwoods Park to finish a video. That could be up on the channel either tomorrow or on Monday or Tuesday. I'm not sure when I'll put that up. But there I am. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to join into the chat, you do have to be subscribed, but it doesn't cost you anything. I also have channel memberships and Patreon support available. If you want to support what I do, there's a super chat button as well. Appreciated, but not necessary. But thank you and welcome to the stream. And tomorrow's a new day. The Jays can get it done tomorrow. Well then, I'm sure we'll be back to being on cloud nine. Jeremy says no stream tomorrow. I'm not sure. I might do a stumble stream at like 7 p.m. because I think the game is at 8. I don't know if this music's going to get copyrighted or not. We can zoom in from here. Greetings, AJ. Eris says, hey buddy, keep up the work. You're amazing. Thank you. me just check something here before we get moving. Maybe we'll head over to Ossington and I'll walk up Ossington. There's a lot of patios and that sort of thing. It's a nice day for that. And then, I'm not really sure. Am I attending the rally next Saturday? I'm not sure which rally it is you speak of. You think I would be on top of stuff going on in the city, but generally I'm the last person to find out about these things. Yeah, we'll take Queen here over to Ossington, then we'll walk north through Ossington. Tavane Palmer, 99 cents. Tavane, thank you for the first super chat of the live stream. Thank you so much. Let me heart and like that. This weather's so nice. I had thoughts of just kind of staying in tonight and laying low. Now I'm kind of thinking, go to a patio, get out and do something, go to a show. Maybe go to a 90s night or something. I know of a few. There are a lot of people out today.
Yes.
This is going west on Queen Street West.
That's my favorite. I've been to both.
Oh, I'm looking for a store. Oh, it's on the other side of Ossington. Oops. Greetings, Trojan Elk Explorer. Welcome to the stream. Hey, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
I know, I mean, there is some people that I really don't. Like, I have a couple of friends that
A little popo action.
it's within the legislation.
Apparently, mail service is back on a rotating basis. Greetings, Mary W. Obi's at Balmy Beach and people are swimming. I don't blame them. It's certainly nice. Lissy, $5 a coffee would suit my walk today. I think an iced coffee might. Let me get out of the way of these people walking behind me. I don't generally dream early or drink early dream into the streams just because that can lead to a unwanted washroom situation, but perhaps near the end of the stream I will pick up a coffee. Thank you so much, Lissy. Ooh, no one needs to see me up that close. Thank you very much. I picked up an ice latte from Dark Horse on Geary Avenue last live stream. Lorraine McLean is here. Hi, Johnny and Mods. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you. No, that sun is kind of bright. I think it's a little known secret that if I don't go live on Friday, it's quite likely that I'll be going live on Saturday around this time. Burrell says, why did Little pitch? Little pitched for reasons that nobody will ever fucking understand, pardon my French, but Schneider's explanation in the post-game press conference was total bullshit. He said Little comes up big in these situations. No, he doesn't. He's literally the worst arm in the bullpen. I have no ill will towards Brandon Little, and there's been some real pieces of crap sending him and his family nasty DMs and threats. It is not the man's fault. His number was called, so he came in and did his job. That one is squarely on Schneider and Pete Walker. And for the people saying they didn't score enough runs, sometimes in baseball you only score one or two.
Do you know?
But their aced last night. Gosman was on point. Varland was on point. And it just so happens they did scratch out enough runs to have the lead in the 8th. And there you are with your reliever and setup man just chilling in the bullpen, not going to them. Or leaving the guy in, because today was an off day. They could have left Varland in. He was dealing. But nope, they did what 29 out of 30 MLB teams wouldn't do. Anyways, I don't think I'm ever not going to be okay with that, or I'm ever going to be okay with that decision. Hey, look at this little detour. Splash of green on this house. Yeah, I don't know why Bassett and Lauer haven't gotten any burn. Either of them would have been better. And if they wanted the lefty-righty matchup, it's really dumb to get cute looking for matchups late in the game. And Fluharty would have been a better option anyways. Anyways, it's just upsetting to think that your manager would make that call. Here's the Cocktail Emporium on the right. Greetings, Kimberly Ann. Hey, that guy just said, "Whoa, we're in a vlog." No, you're not. It's kind of like one. The dressing room curated from film and TV wardrobe. Oh, there's some drips coming right here. Let me. If you're not a fan of walking towards the sun like this, don't worry. I'm going to be turning north in a few steps. Hello, Ossington Avenue. South of Queen, it's Lower Ossington. But this runs all the way north up to Davenport, but the stretch most people think about when they think of Ossington is this one between Queen and Dundas.
There we go.
It's the wall of famous gyms. Jim Henson, Jimmy Carter, Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Jim Irwin, Thank you, Eris. Philip says, what a lovely day. You really should get out yourself. Yeah, if you are in the city and you have the ability to get out, turn off the dang live stream and go outside. It is gorgeous out.
Yeah, so this is the on-off switch here. Just slide this up.
There's a lot of people on the patio across the street. What's that all about? Wall by Uber 5000.
And if not, Tory.
It's like a snack bar, it looks like.
Good to see you guys.
Wine flights, charcuterie, tasting room. It's a very Ossington Avenue like experience. My original plan was to do a stream after the game yesterday, a night stream, but I was not exactly in a great mood. There's a lot of really good faux restaurants in this area. There's one. Deadshot says, good afternoon, you beautiful people. Carolyn's here. Justin is stuck at work. Lisa already did the outside thing. In need of a suit? No. I've got 2 suits. They were custom made in Korea. I'm about 15, 20 pounds lighter since then. So I wonder if they still even fit. What an absolutely amazing day this is. If you're wondering where we are, this is Ossington Avenue. It's north of Queen, south of Argyle. I think that's the next major street. Major-ish, going east-west. I'll probably turn when we get to Dundas. I make Toronto the best city to live in. It's a pretty bold claim. I thoroughly disagree, but I appreciate the kind words. There is Monos. It's a weird mix of like boutique shops, hipster restaurants and dive bars. Certain brands you're more likely to see on Instagram cafes or Instagram campaigns rather tend to pop up here, like Monos. I know someone who bought one of their suitcases. But like 20, 30 years ago, this was very much kind of an industrialized strip. There wasn't much in the way of cool going on, but there were a lot of like auto repair shops. And businesses that wouldn't draw a lot of pedestrian traffic. Certainly nothing like that. Or this place coming up on the left, Trinity Bellwoods, or Bellwoods Brewery. This is always a hot ticket. And what a day to be on the patio. Lucky Ducks. There's Côte de Boeuf. Oh man, if you want some delicious food, head there. I was really happy with my meal at that place.
We play baseball?
And this place will be packed later tonight. Paris, Paris. What's my average step for the day? Let's see, today, where are we at? Today we are at a very lowly 72.65, 37% exertion. That's not acceptable. Yesterday, 16,000, 100% exertion. Sleep, 79, not a great sleep score. The day before, 16.8, 100%. Better sleep score. Ooh, I didn't hit 10K the day before. So usually, lately, 16, 17, with the odd, like, ridiculous 25, 30K day thrown in. I haven't had one of those in a while. When's the last, like, really, really high step count day? 26,000, that's not really worth showing off. Oh well. Lisa clocked 11,388. Mary W says kind of reminds you of Quebec City in terms of how walkable it is. Good afternoon, Whitby dude.
Maybe they're practicing today because it's
You're welcome, Jen. Been looking for neighborhoods. It's hard to go wrong with this one. Transit-wise, it's not the best since you're a little dependent on the hokey Queen streetcar to the south and Dundas streetcar to the north, but there is the Ossington bus, which is pretty frequent. And it's relatively painless to get up to Ossington Station. But be prepared to open up your wallet because housing here ain't cheap. This is a very desirable spot. There's a nice little public area. Dirk G, greetings Dirk G.
Yes, like it's like a...
Mark D says, which are my favorite shoes to wear? Probably my Zero Barefoots. Today we're rocking the Ultra Escalants with the light blue Levi's 501s. And a long sleeve t-shirt. I think, well, I roll up the sleeves, but I think this one is from Amazon actually. I bought a bunch of these way back when. Darren says, J's in 7, let's hope. And then it'll be first the meat grinder, then the Dodgers. But if the Mariners move on, I'm just gonna hope the Dodgers crush them and their classless fans. Benito's, yummy snacks all night.
Sunday nights, it's like long house.
Rotate this has been around forever.
That's so weird. No?
Bouncing around to different locations.
Yeah, no, see, some is just being
There seems to be more stuff on this side of the street. I went to a really neat restaurant. I think it's on the next block in the springtime. Get a cold one at that bar. I might have walked past it already. live bands play. Right there, but we've made it to Dundas. To the left is Little Portugal in a really neat area, but you might be seeing that in an upcoming video. So we're gonna go right for a wee little bit. I kind of feel like crossing over to the north side of the street here. There's the Lakeview restaurant, an all-day breakfast spot. Hey, one of those hokey 505 Dundas streetcars has showed up. Bucky Smith says, are we close to Palmerston? Ish. Not Palmerston Boulevard. But Palmerston is east of here. I see some flashing lights off in the distance. We're going to be heading towards them. And we've hit 362 viewers. 28 minutes into the stream. Thank you so much, guys. Friendly reminder to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and all that fun stuff. Beavers Vintage. Krista says the Jays lost hurt last night. I think I've already done enough ranting on that. You might recognize that place from the Tom Cruise film Cocktail. The Mild Afro Lounge. Town Barber, which I'm guessing is a barber. Roxton, which looks like a dive bar. Youthful Vengeance, coffee, tea, and indie art. Casablanca Bar and Lounge. Greetings, Jerry. MJ said, sorry about my team yesterday. Hey, it's not every day your manager walks onto the field to start the bottom of the eighth and runs a white flag up the pole, but that's exactly what we did yesterday. Fantastic stuff. Lisa says dive bar. Yeah, a curated dive bar. Not like Moe's on The Simpsons, that's for sure. That's more of what a dive bar really is. All right, there's Trinity Bellwoods on the right. Bucky says this area is a lot more hip than when you used to live here. Well, I just went through Little Portugal, and I would actually call that the coolest neighborhood in Toronto, if you ask me. It's just got so many little independent shops. It's like gentrified, but not in the, there's a Starbucks on every street corner kind of way. And it's also cool in that it doesn't seem to just cater to that 20s, early 30s young professional crowd either. I don't know, maybe my definition of what's cool needs to be adjusted, but I prefer it to West Queen West. There's a cafe. So this is east on the north side of Dundas. Is the insane asylum still here? On Queen West? No, it is. That land is now part of CAMH, the Center for Mental Health and Addiction. And the one on Lakeshore is now a Humber College campus. In Etobicoke, we used to have two of those big old institutions. Rockefeller's XTP. There's another very curated dive bar. Oh no, that's a barber shop. I'm an idiot. Lisa says good light. With the sun behind me and some of the fall colors starting to come in, I would say so. I had a thought to walk through Trinity Bellwoods Park, but I just walked through there on the video before this. So we shall stick to this side of Dundas for a bit. And the last time I streamed along here, I was on the south side of Dundas, so we'll stick to this side. Helena says, nice green scene. I don't know what they were talking about, but all I heard her say was, I actually fucking hate blank. I'm like, no. I don't know what the random stranger hates. She must really hate it, though. Greetings, chat. This place is called the Dog Bowl. Krista says turning the furnace on is a goodbye to double-digit temperature soon. It's also a goodbye to any ounce of humidity left. Hello to dry skin and unhappy plants and all the fun stuff that goes along with turning on the heat. Washing out the humidifier with vinegar every 2 weeks, annoyingly. Some beautiful old homes nestled between these commercial buildings. That's a wambulance. Gertej might or might not watch the Blue Jay game tomorrow. Probably that ambulance is going to Toronto Western, which is just up ahead at Dundas and Bathurst. That would be my guess.
Dundas.
505 Dundas to Dundas Station. Little Ghosts Books, horror literature, publishing, cafe, events. There's that place Lambo's, which people speak quite highly of. Apparently they got some great sandwiches. Oh, CN Tower View unlocks. Greetings, Chef Mario Cooks. Look at that. Math Doctor's here. Jacob says Lamborghini Deli is really good. It's just never lined up that I've been here at a time where I wanted to eat or pick up a sandwich. But I'm gonna do it one of these days. This is Bellwoods Avenue. Is that like a fish bowl? Fish tank art? Mike Landry, number 2. Greetings, Johnny. Greetings, good sir. Mike Landry II. Hope you've been... I gotta check out your channel. It's been a while since I've had time to sit down and sift through the YouTubes, but thank you so much for the $2, Mike. Hope all is well over on the East Coast. And we cracked 400 viewers. The big 400. Ooh. Dead pigeon. Decapitated dead pigeon. Thank you all 400 or so of you. And those guys are flying. Helena likes the fishbowl. What's neat, this neighborhood, I think Dundas Street West has the most art per brick anywhere in the city. That's probably a weird way to measure it, but every little side street, laneway, and alley is just full of art. And there's 3 cops in a row. You could start at Lansdowne and just walk east along Dundas. Tavane Palmer. Another super chat. Thank you, Tavane. Thank you very much. Says me and my worst Elvis impersonation. That's also my best. Thank you so much for the super and the support. There's a 7-Eleven with an Esso gas bar. Are there a lot of potheads here? I think there are a lot of potheads in any big city. So the answer to that is yes. Potheads walk among us. A lot of them you'd never even be able to tell. Although some of them you can tell right away. I think I've got 1 full Howard Charco cookie left in the freezer. If I don't go out tonight, I'll find a recent horror movie and hail that cookie and see how that goes. Another cop just went by. Something sent them all in that direction. Morgan Tristram, I ate the lotus. Well, thank you, Morgan. Thank you for the super chat and the support, and congrats on eating the lotus. Maybe I'm a little bit slow not knowing what that means. But I'm not going to get caught in a lie and just play along with it and pretend I know what you're talking about, and then if the conversation ever circles back to that, you'll realize I'm a fraud. I think that's a lesson every kid learns in elementary school at some point. Someone asks you if you saw a movie or TV show, and for some reason your brain says yes, even though you didn't, and you're caught just kind of nodding, going, yeah, I remember that part. And then you realize, this is stupid. Never lie again. There's the fourth man in the fire pizzeria. Well, at least she didn't spit on me, but she made like a farting noise with her lips. She looked right at me and went, that place could be good. The Worth Gallery. Ooh, they got a nice Monstera in the window. Raleigh says, watching you walk around the city while my back is killing me is a weird combo. Love the stream. Well, hopefully your back gets sorted out. You're welcome, Patty. Greg Hybers is here. I used to get a lot of like lower back pain, and it would be kind of nagging and annoying, and my posture was kind of shit. I think just doing a lot of core exercises does wonders for that. I used to be terrified of stools that didn't have a backrest, to the point where I'd refuse to sit on them. I just find that so unbearably uncomfortable. But recently I found I'm able to tolerate that. My back hangs in there. Same with riding my bike for a long time. My back used to stiffen up and get sore. But just doing some planks and ab rollouts and that type of thing doesn't just get you a six-pack, but it can do wonders for your comfort. Helena says yoga all the way. That's probably one way to do it too. And we made it to Palmerston, to the person asking earlier, but this isn't the beautiful Palmerston. This is a just kind of nice Palmerston. Palmerston Boulevard between College and Bloor is where it's at. Also Palmerston through Seton Village is kind of neat. But this part of Palmerston, it's kind of meh. I've been to that place. Old school. I think I had some chicken and waffles there. That's weird. Chinese characters on patois. Almond butterfly. Isn't there one of these in Harvard Village? Whippy Dude says, good that I gave up my office job. I think that was where Tilt Arcade Bar was. They had a fire, but they finally seem to have found a long-term home. Remember that parade of police cars we saw earlier? And I remember seeing police lights flashing off in the distance. Wonder if that is related to it. Lisa says the Dundas one has a bigger menu and space. That's good to know it's the same chain. Ooh, there's a guy who looks a little bit like I don't want to. Yeah, I think walking on this side of the sidewalk, pointing the camera that way was a wise choice. There was a half-naked crazy guy talking loudly to himself who looked kind of ripped. No thanks. All right, we're at Bathurst. Should we go south to Queen or keep walking on Dundas through Chinatown? South on Bathurst or east on Dundas? Place your bets. We'll have a little impromptu vote here. And when we saw that ambulance earlier, there's where it was most likely going to. RD says Kensington. I don't know about Kensington today. Didn't we just go through there? Patty says Chinatown. Mark D says Dundas. Yarrow says East. All right. You guys win. Well, we could probably go through Kensington or at least peek into it. Going this way. Canada says Bathurst. Sal says Bastard Street. Oh, now some votes for Queen are coming in.
Oh, it's Tuesday?
Oops.
Yeah.
There's a neat view of the tower. Getting swallowed up by condos all around. Number of street food vendors across the street. Banh mi, Jamaican patties, Japanese food, Thai, Filipino. I don't know, Lisa, it's a matter of time. Dude showing off his Lambo. Must be nice. I just don't know how anyone can spend $200-300 grand on a frickin' car. Unless you're like in the tens of millions of dollars rich. Seems like a crazy place to put your money. I was watching this podcast on like happiness. This guy who has a background in finance and like social work. And surprise, surprise, the more money you have and the more things you buy does not equate to being happier or more satisfied. The best thing you can buy yourself is time to do what you want. So rather than saddle yourself with a supercar, just invest that money and retire 5 or 10 years earlier. I think he said the biggest detractor of happiness was credit card debt, and the second biggest was an auto loan. And on the flip side, the people that seemed like they could have anything they wanted were not proportionately happier than the amount of money they had. There was like a middle ground where you have to be able to appreciate it. It's a really fascinating podcast. I think it was on George Camel. He's a YouTuber I watch.
So, and we have about an hour.
Some neat garage art. Morgan says the depreciation off the lot is spectacular. Yeah, $300,000 car that's worth like $190 the moment you drive it off the lot. Again, if you have tens of millions of dollars, cool. But if you don't, it makes no sense. Unless that's like your passion in life, I guess. Treat yourself. Lisa says, big fan of Dan Harris and the 10% Happier podcast. Well, the guy he had on was he's now a professor, but he talked about how when he first moved to America with his wife from Spain, and it was time for their first wedding anniversary, and all they had was like a few $1,000s, and they needed a couch, and his wife wanted to go on a vacation. And his mindset was, no, we need a couch that's more practical. And he gave in to what his wife wanted. And the whole point was that vacation is forever, whereas the couch was just an object. And they ended up buying a couch later on, and he forgets what color it is, he forgets everything about it, but he remembers that vacation quite vividly. People have this idea that experiences are fleeting and stuff we buy is forever, but the reality is, in terms of your happiness, it's quite the opposite. Your experiences live with you forever, and shit you buy is just shit you buy, and once you get used to it, unless it's your favorite thing in the whole world, it quickly loses any value. That was kind of his point. Treetop African Cafe. Alfred Lamb just drove past me. Awesome. RD says, in the end, all we have is memories and loved ones. Yeah, I think that was his point. So his whole point was, my wife was right. I mean, that doesn't mean skimp out on a camera if you want to take pictures of your trip or that sort of thing, but it helps to prioritize experiences. All right, this is Kensington Market. Maybe what we'll do, we'll just head up Kensington Avenue, the next one over, and we'll cut through the market up to Baldwin or St. Andrew. Doug C says Steve Jobs figured that out at the end of his life. Kimberly says, I agree, travel before cars, memories are priorities. Well, that's what you take to your grave with you, right? But his other point was, if you have credit card debt, don't do the vacation or buy the couch, because you're going to be miserable with all that pressure. Get rid of that first.
Oh, yo, I know which one that's the one on top.
All right, Kensington Avenue. We'll head north up here for a few blocks, past a lot of vintage shops and that sort of thing. Carol says, what the fuck, Schneider is right, man. Yeah, I went on a rant about how he had exactly 3 options: leave Varland in, put Hoffman in, or put Dominguez in. And he chose the option that 29 out of 30 MLB managers would never pick in a million years. Let's put our worst reliever in the highest leverage situation versus the best home run hitter and the heart of the lineup. Gee, this will work out well. Like, why do you have a setup man and a closer if you're not going to bring him in? If I were manager, I probably would have hung on to Gosman for another inning and tried to go straight to Dominguez and Hoffman. I mean, tomorrow's an off day. Those are your best arms. But I think I also would have found out what Bassett and Lauer are up to by now, because they might have been good options. But Brandon Little? That was insane. Uncle Vintage Quality Garment, Aunt Thelma's. The King of Kensington. Starring Al Waxford, there's a statue of him at a nearby park. They're trying to put a dog on this e-scooter, and he does not want to ride on it. They've never tried that before because the guy was like, this isn't going to work. I don't know how people condition their dogs to riding on their bikes and stuff, but yeah, that dog is not going to be cool on the deck of that e-scooter. There's Moonbeam Cafe, or coffee roasters, excellent spot. Lisa says, poor dog. Sometimes you see a dog though on someone's bike or sticking its head out of a car looking like it's the happiest creature on earth. But I guess it's getting the dog to that point. That's the hard spot, or hard part. Speaking of dogs, there's a Twitch streamer called Hassan who apparently, well, not apparently, he definitely had a shock collar on his dog to keep it in frame in the background of his live streams. So apparently whenever the dog would try to wander away, he would shock it. And everyone just thought it was like this well-behaved dog that loved hanging out behind him. But he showed a camera angle where you could see the trigger clear as day, and that's when all hell broke loose. And all these other YouTubers that were friends with him were trying to cover for him, saying, oh, he's a good guy, he takes care of his dogs. Oh, it doesn't shock him, it vibrates the dog. And it was this whole controversy. But basically, a whole lot of people have been exposed as being awful pieces of shit for supporting him over that. And that guy is a very big streamer. Billy T says, you saw that? Yeah, my feed was full of that. Asmund Gold and a number of other sort of commentary channels have been talking about it. I mean, that's animal abuse. Twitch has reason to take his channel down.
So I'm happy to work.
But they didn't. They seem to be trying to sweep it under the rug. And Murphy says, and Gosman could have blown it too. Hey, you need to put your best arms in the position to win. What John Schneider did was the equivalent of if you're playing blackjack and you're holding a king and an 8, and you look at the dealer and you go, hit me. That's what bringing Brandon Little in was. Like, sure, it might work out. You might get a 2 or a 3 or an ace, but chances are, no. That was your worst option, and that's what he took. Flick Hunter says TwitchCon is on right now in San Diego. Yeah, Asmongold made a point that they should just cancel it because security was so bad. And a girl Twitch streamer who was quite popular, she got assaulted like 3 hours into TwitchCon. A dude came up and just tried to kiss her. And then this big security dude ran out and like shoved them out of the way. But the whole point was, why did it even come to that? You're getting these half-assed retellings of current events by me. Shit I heard in the background while I was working on my computer. There's a couple of Spadina streetcars going south. Oop. I better hurry my ass up. The counter was going down. As we look at Dundas and Spadina, Whippy Dude says he wasn't happy with himself in the interview, but he didn't take ownership. He didn't man up. He said decisions are hard. Well, you had 3 decisions to make and you chose not to make any of them and do something completely stupid instead. Or 3 options, rather. As we head through what LA just calls a great city. A lot of people out today, quite the contrast from Friday. I guess that was yesterday when I recorded a couple of videos. And it wasn't this crowded. And holy cow, we've cracked 500 viewers. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you very much. As I get to Huron Street. Art Gallery of Ontario coming up. Everyone is at home for the game. What game? Peter Bradfield. Okay, I'll hit you gently. Lurking on King's Day or no King's Day. Yeah, I forgot all about that. Thank you, Peter Bradfield, for the super chat. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much, Peter. Sorry, my YouTube feed has gone nuts here for a second. Let me heart that. There we go. Elliot says, hopefully little never again. Hey, no hate for Little. He's just doing his job. It's not his fault. I'm sure he was more surprised than anyone his number was called. Spotify stealing the signal? I don't think it works like that, but there's a theory. Greetings, Mark Foley.
Yeah, I finally.
You guys, stumbles will be preempted tomorrow. If I'm around, I might do a 7 p.m. stumbles with the game at 8. And then I can either shut it down or just watch the game at that point. Because I haven't done a regular stumbles in a while, so maybe there'll be a condensed one at least.
Are there really?
Crazy for what?
As long as the world needs oil and gas, it should be Canadian. It says on the streetcar, well, we certainly have a whole lot of that stuff. Unfortunately, our oil ain't the cleanest. And the refining capabilities for it are mostly down south. But we got a shitload of other energy, natural gas, uranium. No excuse for Canada not to be an energy superpower, so I agree. And there's a look west. The Van Gogh sculpture is no more, says Flick Hunter. Well, I'm gonna stay on this side of the street then. That is kind of surprising. Did something replace it? That's the AGO, Art Gallery of Ontario on the right. And Murphy says Hoffman, Santander, and Scherzer, we spent badly in free agency. Hey, Scherzer earned his paycheck with his Game 4 performance. Santander, yeah, he's been a dud. And I don't like him anyways, even if he has the power bat, because he's a massive liability in the field. We already have Springer if we want a slowpoke roaming around out there. And Hoffman, I think that was a good gamble. We didn't know he was just going to be Jordan Romano 2.0. Oh my, it looks like you were right, Mr. Flick Hunter. Where is Van Gogh? A Dundas Street icon disappears. They must have sold it and moved it somewhere else. Cowley Abbott, Canada's art auctioneers. It's so weird with no Van Gogh statue here. Or whatever you call it. Hopefully something comes and fills up this void on the sidewalk. I mean, it's going to be hard to top that. But there were always people just kind of taking pictures in front of it. Jerry says oil from Newfoundland is clean. We did have refineries. Well, we should also have pipelines up the wazoo, but we don't have those. One thing they're discovering is there's a lot of natural or white hydrogen in Canada. That entire market is just starting to be explored. There's a company called QIMC, which is kind of leading the charge on that forefront. Here's a look at the tower. Stan, just got back from a bike ride. Nice evening. It is. And there's a lineup here on the left in this new building for something. Matcha Matcha. Look at that, a giant matcha cafe. It's never really been a flavor profile I've liked. I certainly got a whole lot of that stuff when I lived in Korea.
We definitely would make the
Lisa says it's been gone for at least a month. I walked through there a few times and didn't even notice. That's crazy. And if Flick Hunter didn't mention it, maybe I just would have brain dead, walked right by it and not noticed. Toronto loves waiting in line. Yeah, if someone opened up the line-up pop-up shop where everyone just lined up, I'm sure there would be a giant line there. There's another view of the tower. What's your matcha? How can I help? There's a very large military ship at Sugar Beach and lots of people. Hey, maybe I'll look that up. If that's there tomorrow, that could be a video idea for me. Thanks for the tip, Stan. Hopefully it's another nice day like this one. Lisa says you for sure would have noticed. Natural care, timeless beauty. And I've walked a lot of Dundas Street today. The video I recorded before this featured a lot of Dundas. Named after Sir Henry Dundas, well-known abolitionist who has come under fire by the virtue signaling crowd in recent years, not realizing he was very much opposed to the thing he was accused of being in favor of. As we get to University Avenue, I'm just going to stick, I think, to the north side of Dundas. Whippy Dude says calling for rain tomorrow.
I don't know. I haven't talked to him.
We've been taking in some neat views of the tower today. There's a view southbound University. Stan, I would believe it. Says there's a ton of people at the Distillery District today. Maybe the threat of a rainy day tomorrow combined with the nice weather today was enough to convince
I think I'd like to do 3 years.
more people out than normal. But it's only 5:47 and you can tell it's already starting to get dark. Shin, Juju, Cafe, and Board Games. Well, you can probably guess where I'm heading to. Thank you, Lissy, for the super chat at the start of the stream to get a coffee. I think I'm going to hold off on this stream for that, but I promise you I'll get one on a future stream. Thank you so much for that. It just occurred to me that I didn't get one. The Guya Curry House. When Jeanette was here, I went to one of these places with her. There's the Bow House. Gyubi Japanese Grill. Oh man, I could eat that place out of business tonight. And last Saturday, I think I did a live stream then as well. Didn't I? I skipped the Friday and I went Saturday again. And after that, I went to the Kimchi House. It's always solid there. Just reading some of your messages. And hey, over 500 viewers. Still, thank you. There's the Longo's Market. I must have missed the news, Jillian Felix. A lot of people sending condolences. Sorry, I can't read every chat. I end up missing a fair bit. I try to. That's one of the reasons why it's handy to have mods. Hanadan, Japanese cuisine. Helena says Longo's is the best. Those Longo's markets are quite pricey. I think there's another one at the Atrium on Bay just up ahead. Oh, they've got Bay Street closed off south of here. Is that a film shoot? There's a cop. A big rig. Looks more like a construction vehicle. Oh, I see. It's like a film shoot, actually. There's a number of big white trucks. What's that all about? Maybe they're filming something at Nathan Phillips Square. Gabriel says, oh, maybe, yeah, this might be for the marathon. They had a 5K today. That could be it as well. Yeah, maybe that's what this was for. Any fake snow? Negativo on the fake snow. Urtej is getting hungry. Tell me about it. You are not the only one, sir. Where's this music coming from? I think I'm gonna have to mute it for a second. Sorry, guys. I don't know if that's the world's laziest form of busking or what, but just play music on a speaker and annoy the crap out of everybody and have your little thing open accepting change. Well, maybe she'll start dancing or something at some point. There's Moon Palace. That was a Spring Rolls a long, long time ago. An Asian fusion restaurant. There was another one at Yonge and Eglinton. Johnny is deciding between Chipotle and Harvey's. That was last night. I opted for a Chipotle bowl. I cashed in some of my rewards points. And they made me a big ass bowl. Sometimes they skimp and there's barely anything in it, but this one was packed to the brim. Johnny, let's see you dance. Bust a move. Negative. There's not a super chat big enough in the world for me to dance. At least if I'm not intoxicated. I was born with 2 left feet. You could just call it white boy syndrome. But dancing is not in my blood. Maybe if I was born in like Central America or something. You must say I walk around Toronto pretty quick. Mike T, you're incorrect. It is Dundas Square. Yonge-Dundas Square. There's a dude in a weird helmet walking around with like a fox on his jacket. Welcome to the center of weird. Look at them hosers, eh? Bunch of hose heads. But if you couldn't have guessed it, we are at the end of the stream. Sorry it was a little on the shorter side, but we still hit an hour and a half. Huge, huge thanks to everyone who tuned in. Big thanks to our mods, channel members, Patreon supporters, people who sent support during the stream. Flick Hunter for a couple of beers in my fridge that will be much needed tomorrow as the Jays try to salvage their playoff appearance. Hopefully Schneider doesn't pull a Schneider. Guess I don't really need the shades anymore. It's certainly dark enough, but thank you so much, guys. I should have a video on the channel tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. EST, if you want to join and hang out and chat with everyone. Thank you, Madonna, Whippy Dude, Trojan Elk Explorer, RD, Mark D, Jillian Felix, Greg Keating, Helena, Cody, Gertej, and everyone else. Thank you so much, guys. See you same bat time, same bat channel for the premiere, that is, tomorrow, 9 a.m. EST. Possible live stream on the Stumbles channel tomorrow. And go Jays. All right, thank you so much, guys. Yoink.